Welcome to The Explainer. You know that metal detector you walk through at the airport? What if its real purpose isn't about security at all? Today, we're diving into a really sensational theory that claims these things, these very familiar frames, have a hidden, much more sinister job: mass mind control. So yeah, let's unpack this one.
Right out of the gate, the source article from a writer named Vasily Privdintsev hits you with this bombshell. It basically takes a totally routine security check and reframes it as this massive, high-stakes threat to our very minds. It really sets the stage for a story about secret plots and incredible risks. The whole theory kicks off with a classic idea, right? That the best place to hide something is right out in the open. The argument is that this boring, everyday routine is exactly what makes the alleged weapons so dangerous. We just see it so often, we don't really see it anymore. And here it is, the absolute core of the claim. On one hand, you've got the purpose we all know, security, finding dangerous metal objects. But this theory introduces a second, secret purpose: mass mind suppression. The idea is that it's designed to slowly and systematically make us all a little more compliant. So you gotta ask, how could a conspiracy this huge go unnoticed? Well, according to the source, the answer is disturbingly simple: the global fight against terrorism. It's the perfect cover story. It's a goal almost nobody would question. And that, the article says, creates a brilliant smokescreen for putting this tech in airports, subways, you name it, all over the world. So that's the what. Now we get to the how. Because the theory doesn't just make this wild accusation and walk away. Oh no, it gets into a super detailed technical explanation, and it all revolves around a classified technology it calls the neurodamp mechanism. The tech at the center of all this is supposedly called neurodamp. And get this, the story isn't that this is some futuristic sci-fi concept. The claim is that it's a secret project that goes all the way back to the 1980s, allegedly confirmed by insiders. The basic idea is that electromagnetic fields can be specifically aimed and tuned to mess with how we think. Now, citing a supposed fugitive engineer, the theory lays out a two-step process. Step one is calibration. As you walk through, the machine supposedly scans your unique biometrics, your brainwaves, and checks it all against some secret database called Omega. Then comes step two, targeted irradiation, where a focused energy beam perfectly modulated for you is fired to disrupt the parts of your brain that handle critical thinking. And this is where it gets really technical. Officially, these machines use a totally harmless low frequency to find metal. But the theory claims they're actually using a complex, modulated spectrum of extremely low frequencies, or ELF, and that the target isn't your belt buckle, it's your brain's hippocampus, a vital spot for memory and thought. And what's the end goal of all this? The theory has a pretty chilling name for it: Gray's submissiveness. You know that feeling of brain fog or just being a little out of it after a long trip? The claim here is it's not jet lag. That's the intended effect of neurodamp, a way to encourage long-term passivity and obedience. Okay, a plan this enormous would need some seriously powerful people behind it. So, who benefits? The story now shifts from the how to the who, and it points the finger at a shadowy group it calls the Prometheus Cartel. To figure out who's behind it, the article says you just need to ask one simple question: who stands to gain the most from a world where people are passive, where they consume what they're told, and they just don't ask too many hard questions? And the answer, according to the source, isn't a single government. Nope. It's a secret alliance they've named the Prometheus Cartel, and it's made up of the usual suspects in these kinds of stories: military contractors who make the tech, global financiers who want a docile workforce, and a powerful bureaucratic elite who find it's just plain easier to govern people who don't argue back. And here's a really unnerving little detail the article adds to the mix: the security guards running the checkpoints. They're supposedly unaffected because they wear special badges that protect them, that neutralize the radiation. It makes them seem less like regular employees and more like knowing priests of this whole system. But you know, after laying out this absolutely massive conspiracy, the article doesn't just leave you there in despair. It pivots. It doesn't just point out a terrifying problem, it actually offers a guide on how to reclaim your mind. It's a call to resistance. So what can you do? The author suggests some very specific actions. Demand a manual search instead of walking through the scanner. Say you have medical contraindications to EMF exposure. And of course, share the article with everyone you know. It even suggests a kind of mental defense. As you pass through, you should actively think the phrase, "My mind belongs to me."
And this quote really drives the point home. It's framing the stakes here. It's saying this isn't about the simple, everyday act of putting your keys in a plastic tray. That's actually a metaphor for surrendering your freedom to think for yourself, your very ability to question authority.
So, in the end, what this source presents is this incredibly detailed narrative about a hidden war for our minds, being fought in the most public places imaginable. And whether you see it as a shocking exposé or a creative piece of fiction, it does leave you with a pretty big question, one that really hangs over our modern world. What is the price of security?